Your child just dropped to the floor screaming in the middle of Target, and every single person is staring at you, some with pity, some with judgment, and you can feel your face burning hot because you know exactly what they're thinking. They're thinking you're a bad parent, they're thinking your child is spoiled, they're thinking if that were my kid I'd handle it differently. And here's what nobody tells you about public tantrums: the audience makes everything 10 times harder, not for your child but for you, because suddenly you're not just managing your child's emotions, you're managing your own shame and everyone else's opinions and trying to make good parenting decisions while your nervous system is screaming run or fight or freeze. And I'm about to show you exactly what to do in the next 60 seconds that will end the tantrum, protect your child, and let you walk out with your dignity intact. But here's the truth that might sting. The biggest mistake parents make in public isn't how they handle the child, it's how they handle themselves first. So let me show you what actually works when everyone is watching and why everything you've been taught about public tantrums is probably making them worse. Let me paint you the scene that every parent has lived. You're in the grocery store, your toddler asks for candy, you say no, and they drop to the ground like you just told them the sky is falling, screaming, crying, kicking. And here's what happens in your body in that exact moment. Your heart rate spikes, your face gets hot, adrenaline floods your system, and your brain goes into what I call performance panic, because suddenly you're not just a parent, you're a parent on stage, and every person in that store becomes a judge scoring your performance, and that panic makes you do things you'd never do at home. You negotiate when you meant to hold firm, you threaten consequences you can't enforce, you grab your child's arm too hard, you hiss through clenched teeth, or you give in completely just to make it stop. And here's what I need you to understand: none of that makes you a bad parent. It makes you a human parent whose nervous system is activated. But it doesn't help your child. And it doesn't end the tantrum, so let me show you the 5-step method that actually works in public, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. Step 1 is going to feel impossible at first, but it's the only thing that works, and once you master this you'll realize public tantrums aren't harder than home tantrums, they're just more visible. And that visibility is your problem, not your child's problem, so let's fix your problem first. Step 1 is ignore the audience, and I mean completely. The second your child starts melting down, your brain wants to scan the room, check who's watching, manage their perceptions, perform good parenting for them. And every second you spend worrying about the audience is a second you're not helping your child. So here's what you do: the instant the tantrum starts, you make a conscious choice. You say to yourself out loud if you need to, "These people don't matter, my child matters. I'm going to handle this like I'm alone in my living room." And I know that sounds impossible because you can feel their eyes on you, but here's what's true: 90% of the people in that store don't care. They're thinking about their own shopping list. And the 10% who are judging you, they're going to judge you no matter what you do. If you give in, they'll judge you for being permissive. If you stay firm, they'll judge you for being too strict. If you leave, they'll judge you for running away. You cannot win their approval, so stop trying. And the second you release yourself from performing for them, everything gets easier, because now you can actually focus on what your child needs instead of what strangers think. And here's what happens when you do this: your own nervous system calms down, your heart rate drops, your thinking brain comes back online, and suddenly you can remember what you know about tantrums instead of just reacting from panic. So step 1, ignore the audience completely. Pretend you're alone, parent like nobody's watching, because the truth is their opinions literally do not matter, and your child's emotional regulation does. Step 2 is get low and get close. The second you've released the audience from your mind, you focus entirely on your child. And here's what most parents do wrong in public: they stay standing because subconsciously they want to maintain authority. They want to look like they're in control, they want to tower over the situation. But your child on the ground can't see your face, can't connect with you, and feels small and alone, and that makes the tantrum worse. So here's what you do instead: you crouch down or sit down right there on the dirty floor. Yes, the actual floor. I don't care if it's Target or Walmart or a gas station. You get down to their eye level and you get close, not hovering above them but right there beside them. And here's what this does: first, it signals to your child, "I'm here, I'm not leaving you." Second, it removes the power dynamic of you looming over them. Third, it helps you stay calm, because it's physically impossible to stay in panic mode when you're sitting down. Your body reads sitting as safe. And fourth, it actually makes the audience disappear, because when you're focused on your child at their level, you literally can't see the other people anymore. They're out of your sight line, and something magic happens when you stop caring about being watched. People stop watching because there's nothing interesting about a calm parent sitting with a crying child. The drama they wanted to see just evaporated. So step 2, get low, get close, crouch or sit, make eye contact, be physically present with your child. And I promise this one action will cut the intensity of the tantrum in half. Step 3 is offer silent presence, and this is where parents mess up because they think they need to talk, they need to explain, they need to teach the lesson right now, so they crouch down and immediately start with "use your words, calm down, I said no, people are looking, this is embarrassing, you're being ridiculous." And every single word is adding fuel to the fire because your child's thinking brain is offline, they can't process language right now. Their amygdala is running the show, and The amygdala doesn't speak English, it speaks safety or danger, so here's what you do instead. You crouch down, you make gentle eye contact if they'll allow it, and you say nothing. You might put a hand on their back or shoulder if they'll accept it, or you might just sit near them, but you don't talk, you don't explain, you don't lecture, you just breathe slowly and deeply and you stay. And here's what happens. Your child's nervous system is scanning yours for cues. Am I safe or am I in danger? And when they see your calm face and feel your steady presence and notice you're not freaking out, their system starts to borrow your calm. This is called co-regulation, and it's the most powerful tool you have. Your calm literally regulates their chaos, but it only works if you're actually calm, which is why step 1 matters so much. If you're still worried about the audience, you can't be calm, but if you've released them, if you've decided they don't matter, then you can be the steady presence your child needs. And within 30 to 60 seconds of silent calm presence, you'll see the crying shift. It might not stop completely, but it will change. The frantic intensity will drop. They'll start to come back to themselves. And that's when you move to step 4. Step 4 is name what's happening, and now and only now, after you're calm and present and they're starting to regulate, you speak, but you don't lecture or teach, you just witness. You say something like, "You're really upset right now, you wanted that toy and I said no, that's so frustrating," or "You're really mad, your body is having big feelings, I'm here with you." And notice what you're not saying. You're not saying, "But we can't always get what we want." You're not saying, "This is inappropriate behavior." You're not saying, "People are staring." You're just naming what's true. And here's why this works. When you name an emotion accurately, it activates the prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain, and it actually reduces the intensity of the feeling. Scientists can measure this on brain scans. It's called effect labeling, and it works every single time, but it only works after the first 3 steps. If you try to name feelings while you're still standing and worried about the audience and talking too much, it won't land. But if you do steps 1, 2, and 3 first, this step is magic, and you'll actually feel their body relax. The name makes sense of the chaos. "Oh, this is frustration. Oh, I'm upset. Oh, my parent understands." And suddenly the feeling becomes manageable instead of overwhelming. So step 4, name the feeling simply and accurately. No lesson, no lecture, just truth. Step 5 is give them an exit path, and this is the step that determines whether you leave with dignity or leave with drama. Because at this point your child is calmer, but they're not done. They're starting to regulate, but they haven't fully come back yet. And if you jump straight to "Okay, time to go," you'll trigger round 2. So instead you give them agency within your boundary. You might say, "I know you wanted that, and we're not buying it today. When you're ready, we can finish shopping together, or we can go to the car, you choose." Or you say, "Your body needed to have those big feelings. Now let's take some breaths together and figure out what's next." The key is you're not asking permission. The boundary is firm. We're not buying the toy, but you're giving them control over how they move forward. And this is crucial because most tantrums in public are actually about power. They ask for something, you said no, they feel powerless, so they escalate to take back power. And if you force the next move, you're extending the power struggle. But if you give them choice within your boundary, breathing or leaving, staying close or having space, they get power back without getting the thing. And 9 times out of 10 they'll choose the easier path because you've given them a way to save face. And within another minute you're moving again, crisis over, dignity intact. And here's the beautiful part, you did it without giving in, without yelling, without dragging. You stayed calm, you stayed connected, and you taught your child that big feelings are survivable and you're not scared of them. And that lesson is worth way more than whatever they were asking for. Now let me tell you what to do when none of this works, because sometimes you do all 5 steps perfectly and your child is still screaming. And that's when you use the nuclear option. You leave, but you don't leave in defeat. You